What's up, YouTube? Today I want to make a video talking about something that happened last week, which was the situation with Benny Johnson and Attorney General Pam Bondi moving forward with prosecuting a person who was found to have been sending him death threats against him and his family. And while I overall think this is a good thing, as I have made a video about this earlier, talking about the necessary accountability that we need to de-escalate political tensions, I want to talk about my complaint with this story. And again, while this is overall a good thing, I have yet to see really anyone talk about this issue in a way that I was expecting. And my main problem with what is happening is that I think this story gives off the impression that the administration is playing favorites with solving what I think is a very widespread problem that is overall harming the nature of political discourse in this country. And one of the reasons for this is, or the main culprit of what is harming it, in my opinion, or one of the major culprits, is the normalization of death threats online. If you go on any social media platform or even play any game online, you know that death threats have basically become an everyday thing. And I think this is a huge problem when you consider the fact that a death threat is essentially a felony in most states, which is crazy that if you think about it, that most of these people online and sometimes even, minors engage in this behavior regularly because it's been so normalized. And if you look at the post-Charlie Kirk assassination world that we live in, you even had Attorney General Pam Bondi on a podcast try to identify, what is leading to this escalated political violence that we're seeing. And although she had walked this statement back, she initially had identified hate speech as one of the main reasons for why political tensions and political violence have become so commonplace. And although it's inconvenient, hate speech is protected by the First Amendment. It is still a freedom of speech. It is still protected under freedom of speech, as good and as bad as that may be. What is not protected are death threats or calls to violence and violent rhetoric overall, or the implication of committing a violent act against someone. These are, again, felonies, which in some states can be up to 5 years of prosecution if found guilty. And that, to me, is the main issue, is that we have had a huge culture shift where people have just been completely accepting of the fact that this is a norm within conversation, within language online. And if you look at any other crime, such as murder, or robberies or any other felony crimes, you would see that by allowing these things to happen and by not punishing them harshly enough, this overall will lead to the repeat offense of them. If people have no disincentive to commit a crime, they will continue to do it when they feel that it is necessary to either survive or if they feel like it's justified. And that leads to the problem that we're seeing now with political rhetoric, where most heated political discussions online end with a death threat, and that is not a good precedent to set, as far as the fact of the matter of politics being that our system works when both sides find a diplomatic solution. This requires concessions. This requires, understanding the other argument. This comes with some empathy as far as understanding the position that the other side has. And when you engage in just saying a death threat, or implying that violence should be committed against someone that you politically disagree with, this has created a society where this has become a normal way to solve political problems. And you even have politicians engaging in this kind of behavior by painting their political opponent as a communist or as a fascist. It just goes around and around and around to the point where we are no longer engaging with each other's arguments in good faith. We are just using these extreme labels in order to smear or undermine the opposite's argument. And this has overall led to a very bad place in political discussion, where it seems like as the days go by, we are just becoming further and further pushed apart as a society into our respective political extremes. And I think if you look at even not only the Charlie Kirk assassination, but even the ICE shooting that happened in Texas, the extremists are clearly responding to this elevated political language as they are writing the bullets they are writing these words onto the bullets, such as, "Hey, fascist, catch," or, anti-ICE. So they're clearly listening to and they're responding to the political temperature. And the fact of the matter is they're just crazy enough or have, the least self-preservation imaginable and are willing to act out on the cries of these people that are saying like X person deserves to get killed for their belief, or someone's family or children should be attacked. This is not normal language. This is a felony in most places and should be treated as such. And I think this is evidence of the normalization of this kind of language, which overall will lead to negative outcomes. Because again, if you do not disincentivize this behavior from happening, then it will only continue to happen because people feel like being able to do it outweighs the consequences of getting caught, and they feel like it's justified. To go back to the story with Benny Johnson, I think what should be happening is that this needs to be treated as the crime that it is on both sides, bilaterally. They need to not only help people that are close to the administration, but they need to address it whenever it happens, regardless of that. And even social media platforms, or even gaming platforms should start treating this more seriously. But I will add a caveat where this is more severe for public figures or on platforms like Twitter, Facebook, where your identity is fully online, where it's a bit easier to find the person and commit the violent act. It's a bit different behind like a gamer tag or a username. Your identity is not fully there. But I will say that even in that instance, people should just flat out be banned. As again, this is a crime. This should not be encouraged. There should be no tolerance for it. It's a felony crime, and it should be treated as such. And overall, I hope that this instance with Benny Johnson, I hope that this continues to happen. I think this will result in a net negative this will result in positive outcomes for the country if they continue to prosecute people, no matter what side of the political aisle they're on. They should be holding people accountable on both sides, and that isn't a positive outcome that could happen if they're willing to use it correctly. But again, I hope this sets a positive trend moving forward. That's my overall point with this video that I make. I hope that they continue to do this because I think it will help with de-escalating political tensions and kind of restoring some conversational norms around politics, as I don't feel like, as difficult a discussion as politics may be, the red line, in my opinion, should be making death threats or acts of violence. No one should be under threat of harm or losing their life just for their political opinions. But if you have liked this video, or if you agree or disagree, please consider liking and subscribing and leaving a comment. Again, regardless of if you agree or disagree, as my main point with these videos is to hopefully start a discussion around the broader topics that I'm discussing. But please, if you've made it this far, please take care and be safe. Have a great day.